Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another episode of our AI readiness for Salesforce. It's a quite exciting one today. We have Cyril with us. One of the top experts, definitely in Europe, probably in the world. Whatever is going on in the Salesforce ecosystem, specifically relating to AI and Agentforce and the evolution of that conversation. So, Cyril, thank you very much for joining us. Would you care introducing yourself for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you for that opportunity, that invitation. My name is Cyril. I am working in this ecosystem, Salesforce ecosystem, since 15 plus years now. So it's been a long journey. I've seen a lot of things. I am still enjoying the platform and learning on the platform. And within that journey, I'm also sharing a lot with the community. So being a user group leader here in Geneva, Switzerland, being recognized as the Salesforce MVP,
That's right.
often speaker in different conferences. And more recently, also the founder of Mavericx, or an implementation partner consulting firm to guide the customer into their Salesforce implementation to achieve the success.
Well, that's fantastic. Yes, and I think there was a recent milestone in your effort to spread the word and your wisdom and what you learn about the ecosystem and package it so that everybody can access to it through your LinkedIn. I believe you celebrated recently a major milestone.
Yeah, I'm old enough on the ecosystem to now reach the Salesforce MVP Hall of Fame. So,
Oh, the Hall of Fame, fantastic. And then 10,000 followers on LinkedIn.
yeah, indeed. Also, yeah, another milestone. I was not checking that often. I just realized and I said, oh, I forgot. I moved on that platform. I used to work X, formerly known as Twitter, but I'm not publishing and sharing a lot of LinkedIn now. Yeah.
Understood. And so, well, your LinkedIn is a great source of information for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people. Well, 10,000 of us, at least. So I invite everybody to check out LinkedIn. We'll actually link it in the text that goes with this episode. Now, Cyril, AI readiness, a big topic, right? And just earlier we were talking about AI readiness, and you mentioned something that would be probably a very good start to our conversation. So you said, when I talk to companies and when I talk to the broader ecosystem in Salesforce, I often mention that being ready for AI is not only related to technology. So can you care to elaborate on that? And let's start with that.
Yeah. I told them that AI is not just about technology. I would say it's something like 30% technology, 30% processes, and 40% the people. So you need to understand the process that you would like to automate or to leverage with AI, but then you need to train your people. You need to raise confidence on what will be the AI prediction or recommendation. If they don't trust the platform, they will not care about AI. And this is also about relying the data on which the AI will be based. So again, it's not just about technology, it's a mix. And too often companies, maybe because of FOMO, they would like to jump into a solution and they see AI as a product, not as a process. And they just said, oh, I would like to try this. I buy it, I activate, and then let the magic happen. It's not that easy, unfortunately.
It's interesting. You put the majority of the components is in the people, which is interesting. I read a stat recently, that a research that is saying that 80% of the people at work, they already use AI. And it's an interesting stat because it triggers a number of observations, right? So, and I think they're mainly referring probably to using GPT or using an AI note taker in their calls, or some. And what are the implications? And is that, do you think, good or bad for building an AI strategy?
It is exactly good and bad. The good part is that actors like OpenAI really evangelize the market and democratize the usage of solution like ChatGPT. So people are now trained to use that kind of tool within their day-to-day activities. But here comes the bad thing. The usage of those technology does not follow governance rules or security concerns. So what you are doing with your, I would say, individual use cases at home, you leveraging UI and ChatGPT cannot be just copy and paste into a company, because you need to take care about your data, the data of your customer, your processes, the governance, the regulations. So we have a set of additional layers on top of this. And this is the thing. Some of the users would like to just use it like this without taking care about governance or security. So this is the bad thing.
So can I be a bit of a devil's advocate here? Because then recently in my interactions with, I can think of a couple of companies, actually, one German and one Belgian. They find themselves, I believe, exactly in that limbo stage where on the one hand, they dread looking at their team and everybody's using their own AI and a lot of free tools, and probably by doing so, leaking a lot of information on that should be under control and is not. So that they are trying to put a stop to it, knowing that they're stopping possibly productivity on the one hand. On the other hand, they're not ready to embrace AI or to put governance around AI because they are lost in committees and conversations and regulations and the UAI Act and all that comes with it. And so this is, I believe, a limit for European companies, because especially compared to US companies that seem to be accelerating through AI, not caring too much, and possibly exposing them maybe themselves to a bigger risk and not caring too much about governance. So which one is which, and how do we help solve this? Or let me start with, do you think my analysis is correct, at least in some cases, and how do we solve it?
Yeah, we indeed have, especially in Europe, additional compliance to follow. First is regarding the customer data, but also regarding, I would say, AI usage, ethics, and cybersecurity. So we need to have this kind of ethical guardrails on top of the usage, and cybersecurity. So how to secure the data that you will be using and the one that you will be sending to an external system to feed the AI model. This is definitely an additional layer of complexity for some of the companies, and this is also the switch or the difference between the mindset of two types of companies. We have the big corporates that they have no choice. They need to follow governance and compliance and security review, so they will lose velocity. And we have smaller company that they can have like a quick start approach, more use cases focus to see the value. Maybe I would say more pragmatic approach. Let's start with something and then we will iterate to grow our usage before to start something too big. So not sure which strategy is the best. It's just that we need sometimes to follow global regulations.
No, of course, and I guess they have to, right? So as you said, they're part of a regulated environment, and they cannot not take care of it. And that's probably where Salesforce can play and does play a major role, because they obviously bring a very structured approach to their value proposition around AI with Agentforce, the trust layer, the controls and guardrails around the implementation elements of how data is handled. Do you have examples of actually that being a successful deployment, and kind of where companies on a step-by-step approach, I guess, in Europe are starting to embrace this type of AI within the Salesforce example?
Yes, and actually it was a journey, not just a one-off project saying I would like to go with AI on Salesforce. And this is this is why it was a success. They started with the foundation regarding where are the data that I will need. Do you have access to that data? Is that data relevant? How is synchronized the data that is coming from an external system? Is it synchronized often enough? Then how to merge all those different data sources to have a clear understanding of the global customer. And then when everything has been cleaned up or harmonized, how to activate AI on top of this? Because actually AI is a model that will need a context, and the context comes from historical data.
Yeah.
So first you need to be clean on your data, and then you can leverage AI. So the success that I've seen, it was this kind of journey, capturing the data, harmonizing the data, and then activating AI use cases. And I agree with you regarding how Salesforce can be an accelerator with that kind of use cases. Because Salesforce itself thought about that project as an iterative process. You can activate Agentforce with data only on your CRM. It's a kind of straightforward process. Then you can increase the knowledge with additional context coming from external sources and structured data. So for that, you will need more on top of Agentforce. You will need a bit of data cloud. And then you can increase the way to interact with your data with conversational agents, not just AI process and automated. So you can activate step by step, and you will mature your process and you will nurture your AI readiness in order to make it a success.
I very much like the concept of it being a journey. I'm actually curious if it's the right thing, right? So we've seen it across many use cases and many demos as well, and success stories that we've seen on stage at the recent events with Salesforce, that the foundation is paramount and it's all about data. But it takes a strategic mind and a long-term approach to actually start with that. And I'm wondering, in your experience, are clients that strategic when they think about Agentforce and the future of their business and kind of starting with data, or is it something that you have to bring as part of your expertise and kind of work with them to? Because I would imagine that as a client, I'm thinking, well, I need a ChatGPT for my team that does this, and they start at the very end. And so is that your job, kind of reeling it back to the foundation layer?
I will start with a pure consulting answer. It depends. So I've seen different customers. Obviously, it depends their maturity and their vision. Unfortunately, the vast majority, I would say, have a wrong way to address that process. And it might be because Salesforce, in their promotion of the product, try to evangelize a bit too much and make it more a product that you just you buy it and then you activate and it's done. So this is somehow the mindset that I've seen too much is not the correct mindset. The quick win or the proof of concept approach. Let's start with this as soon as possible, and then we will see where we land. On another hand, we have customers with strong maturity, a clear vision, and they say, we want to go at scale. So it has to be security by design. Everything has to be documented. The way our agent will react, is it exactly the behavior that I would like him to have? Where are my data? What is the context? Everything had to be thought before to implement. So we have a lot of duties to be done before the implementation. And I've seen too many customers jumping on activating something and just maybe hoping that it will be part of the magic that Salesforce is showcasing during all this amazing conference. They try to sometimes oversimplify the behind the scene.
Yeah, I think we've learned that the hard way sometimes, actually, throughout the years, right? With the beautiful demos, and then the client saying, "I want that," and I'm like, "Okay, let me take you on the journey." that totally makes sense. Salesforce very often uses a very interesting concept of customer zero. So they often refer to themselves as their first customer. So they build solutions so they first, in the first place, they can use them. And they're a sales and marketing organization, so it makes a lot of sense to test on themselves. Does Mavericx also kind of take a customer zero approach? Have you started looking at implementing some of the AI capabilities across your own organization?
Yes, clearly, for many reasons. The first one is the customer should be a bit of innovator. Let's use the Salesforce lexic, a trailblazer, open to the innovation. So this is the first mindset that we're looking for, because it's a bit of a bet on something that have not been implemented yet. So first, they need to align with the vision of Salesforce. Yes, I'm confident enough that we can reach what Salesforce is demoing, is showing up. We can link there. So it's the first criteria. The second one is the trust with us, the implementation partner. It's a new product. It's a new mindset. It's a new way of working. Probably we have the knowledge of the global solution, and we have something new coming up. So they need to trust us that we will learn together. It will be iterative. So it's what you said, the zero approach, the zero customer, the one that trusts us, align with the Salesforce vision, and that trusts us to start something. And then we will see where we can go. And most of the case, initial vision is not exactly aligned with the operation. The way to, the vision to operation, we have a gap because the product sometimes is not mature enough, sometimes because our own expertise is not at the level needed to fine-tune the product itself. And sometimes it's a bit of those two criteria. And then, as soon as we have a first use cases in production, first we have a return of experience. We play with the product. We know accelerators, best practices, mistake not to do again and again. And it's an accelerator for additional customer that the product, the selling will be easier. But you're right. The first one will be someone that trusts the product, that trusts the vendor, and that trusts the implementation for something that has never been implemented before.
So an interesting, again, it goes back to the, you need to choose and select a journey partner, right? So a partner that will sit, with you, alongside you, and drive with you the project forward. Look, I wanted to jump into another interesting area. So following you on LinkedIn, and thinking about impact of recent announcements, recent evolutions, I wanted to pick your brain on a few, quick snapshot areas. One is regarding the change of pricing. Big announcement arriving. What do you think about it? Another one is the Informatica acquisition, and major player in the market. You, in your narrative around that acquisition, you focus a lot again on data, on the foundation of building AI success. And then there was another very interesting piece of information that you put out there, which analyzed the difference, which I think is still not clear, and I think it's part of your education to the market, that looks at the differences between the old AI, kind of conversational AI, a co-pilot, and an agent, and kind of the evolution of that concept and the impact expected. So I want to pick your brain and kind of a flash on all of this, and then we look into the future for a second.
So I will start with with the Informatica
Yes.
question. I like that one because it's something I've shared a year ago. So surprisingly, a year ago, and I was mentioning it would have been a good bet for Salesforce, and I explained why it was not a duplicate buying Informatica on top of MuleSoft. And I explained when I was sharing my thoughts that Informatica is much more. It can be seen as an MDM, and one of the key differentiator is the transformation capabilities. When we come back to the global suite of Salesforce, I would say two major missing pieces especially in data cloud, was data transformation. Today, the product is not at the level of excellence that Salesforce used to deliver. When you want to do data transformation in data cloud, it is a mess. The product is not really meant for that. It's a lot of workarounds. So that could be a great add-on because Informatica is doing this perfectly. And the third one is the MDM approach. A lot of customers and sometimes even account executive think data cloud is meant to have this unified customer. The correct wording for data cloud is much more a keychain. So you will have different records grouped together to have a better understanding of your customer. But all those records that we kind of match thanks to identity resolution, they are not merged. So this is why we said that data cloud is not a unified customer. It's a unified view. Yes, it's a better understanding. You can calculate information on top of this because you have a better knowledge and understanding. But Informatica, on the other hand, is a solution for MDM, and that will be the master data of your solution that will merge the data. So here again could be an additional asset on top of data cloud or to complete the solution of data cloud.
Very, very interesting. And again, data kind of coming back in, it's a very topical for us always, doing our episodes about AI readiness, because I think that's where the battle is played for sure. Then
yeah, I always used to say data is as good as your no, AI is as good as your data. So obviously data is key, the foundation on which AI will be built. So.
Yeah, for sure. Pricing, what do you think? Actions, conversations are not priced if there's no action, but actions are priced individually. 10 cents, credits, flexible credits. All good?
So, yeah. I will start this topic on with another point of view. It's having something that you pay by seat, compare by usage. It's the first mindset switch that we see on the market. And is the customer or is the market ready for that? And the part of the answer will be, again, it depends, because it depends to who you're talking to, the department that you are interacting with. For marketing departments, actually they are already used to have this kind of usage invoicing, because they are per volume, how many emails you're sending, how many segment you're using, how many SMSs you're sending. So they're already used to that usage invoicing. For IT or for sales, they're coming from a world where you buy a solution and then you use it as much as you can to increase the return on investment. So for those departments, the switch is complex. So it's just a maturity. So of course, some of the vendors, their role is to educate and to show the value. And this is also why currently we are seeing Salesforce and other vendors trying to initiate new pricing model to see how the market will react to that pricing model. Is it is the correct one, or should we change something? And it's exactly why Salesforce is reactive enough to switch and to change their pricing model. So the market might say it's not clear, it's not accurate, it's not stable enough. Salesforce is changing again and again, but actually just to react accordingly to the expectation of the market. Conversation, paying per conversation is not meaningful because sometimes the conversation is out of context. We don't create anything out of this conversation. So actions is more useful for as a KPI. But then again, is your agent used internally, so user agent, or exposed externally, customer agent? And here again, you can see different ways to price your agents. And how many data are used to create the result of the agent? Are they coming from Salesforce? Are they coming from elsewhere? And then you are complexifying the pricing model at the beginning, it was to make it more relevant. But if you want to be more relevant, you are adding criteria in the pricing model. If you're adding criteria, you are increasing the complexity of the understanding of the pricing model. So this is exactly where we are. It sounds it's more legit to go that way, but it's even more complex for a customer to understand the pricing model. We said $2 per conversation, super easy, but now we want to make more relevant. So only price when I see a value. So you add criteria, it's more complex to understand.
Yeah, true. I think the more we get educated and educate ourselves, in the market, and the more likely we will evolve towards an outcome-based pricing, right? So you started to hint to it because the action is closer to an impact. And when you just focus on the impact, it will be, I think, the holy grail, right? So you know exactly what you pay for because you have an outcome. Unless there's an outcome, there's no cost to me, which I think it's a nirvana state for any pricing for any company.
And Salesforce now is also introducing the flex credit, as you said. So it's another way to align with the market expectations. We all start with assumptions. So what if we are not on that vision? So the flex credit is just a way to estimate your consumptions, but then if you're not on it, the flex credit can be reused later on another use cases. And then Salesforce bring you a kind of dashboards to control how to use those credits. Is it for that use case, that use case, that use case? So you can also orchestrate where you would like to allocate more flex credit on the use cases or the processes where you see more value. And here again, for the customer, I don't want my forget password agents to consume all my flex credits. Not meaningful for me. So you can reallocate this. And now you have a dashboard to allocate and but also track and dive into all the records that have been used by your credit. Salesforce is giving you more visibility, more transparency on how you can use and where your credit are used.
Well, it sounds very, very interesting and promising, actually. And I think we're all rooting from the sideline, right? So actually, last 30 seconds, we've taken a lot of your knowledge already and time, so I really appreciate it. But looking into the future, are you bullish? Are you skeptical? What do you see? What does your kind of sphere, glass sphere, what's crystal ball say?
Yeah, I am not selling the technology. I say I'm much more finding use cases to use the technology to create value, productivity to the customer. So I am not involved into the pricing model impact. Of course, if the market don't find any value, they will not go for it, and I will have nothing to implement. But on the implementation part of view, to take your wording, I'm bullish. I'm sure that the usage will increase, and especially because the technology is evolving very fast. And I think we will go more and more on this low code, no code way to implement the technology as a facilitator. The only thing is because you can do it, it's not because you can that you should, So you will be able to implement a lot of things with no technology background. The only thing is how to document this. How do you make sure that this will scale? How do you anticipate the impact of one Apex class or one use case on the way your agent will behave? So this is the process. And as I told you, it's 30% technology, 30% process, 40% the people. So don't forget those two pillars.
And I think more and more your role and your job and your team's job will be to safeguard those aspects, right? And bring expertise in those areas.
Educate and guide. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
Wow. This was a very, very good conversation. Thank you very much, Cyril. As always, a lot of learning, a lot of very current, very practical very impactful information from you. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
and I will see you soon.